बेटा मैं 5 मिनट में आ रही हूँ, यही रुकना, और कोई भी अजनबी आए तो बात मत करना।
ओके मम्मा,
बाय
बाय बाय। जॉनी जॉनी यस पापा, ईटिंग शुगर नो पापा, टेलिंग लाइस नो पापा, ओपन योर माउथ।
बेटा चॉकलेट चाहिए?
ये
बेटा चलोगे आप मेरे साथ? आपकी मॉम ने मुझे भेजा।
बेटा
Hello everyone, we are the students of Thakur College pursuing a course in BMM. This documentary is our class project on development of India. We are going to talk about pedophilia. What exactly is pedophilia? What causes people to become pedophiles? A few cases on it and how we can prevent it.
What is a pedophile? A pedophile is an individual who experiences primary or exclusive sexual attraction towards prepubescent children. Sexual attraction includes desires, fantasies, and behaviors. Having these urges in itself is not wrong, but acting upon it is a criminal offense.
Is pedophilia a mental disorder? Aren't people born with it?
Yes, pedophilia is in fact a mental disorder. Research shows that people are born with it.
Are pedophiles born or made?
Interestingly, the science in general says that pedophiles appear to be born, not made. The stuff that we've seen that are different in pedophiles in their brain functioning is all stuff that doesn't happen during the course of life.
Are you saying that for the pedophile, their attraction to children is natural?
They experience it as natural. They did not pick it. They come to realize it over the course of life.
If it's a mental disorder, does that mean the crimes are justified? Is it?
No, obviously it is not justified. Having urges is one thing and acting on those urges and ruining somebody's life is another thing. Let's look at some cases to see how brutal the abuse can get.
A 38-year-old man confessed that he has been assaulting as many kids as 500. He attempted to abuse 2,500 children. His victims were of the age group of 7 to 10 years and he has been assaulting kids over the period of 12 years. Rastogi used to work as a tailor in New Delhi. He has been living in Rudrapur city in Uttarakhand and used to visit Delhi once a week to find his victims. He also used to lure girls whom he found walking home alone from school. The police gathered details of 58 cases of sexual assault and traced 15 first information reports registered against him. This eventually led to Rastogi's arrest.
If pedophile get arrested, then it might solve all the issue, right?
No, it really does not solve any problems. Let me tell you a case where a person, even after getting arrested, did not learn his lesson. Rakesh Verma, a 35-year-old pedophile, he raped a 4.5-year-old girl in April of 2011. He got arrested for 10 years. After getting bail, not even a year later, he committed an even more heinous crime. He abducted a girl sitting with her grandmother at a temple. He took her to a secluded place, raped her and left her to die.
If arresting these people won't help us, then what can we do in this situation?
If you're having these urges and you can't control it, it's better to seek professional help before you ruin somebody's life.
In this kind of situation, therapies are for the people who are just thinking about committing crimes. But what about the people who has already committed such a hideous crime? Like, what can we do?
Well, there are 4 laws made for the protection of children. One of them being Protection of Children Against Sexual Violence. This law was passed on 22nd of April 2012. Before this, most child predators did not face any charges. Sexual violence against boys wasn't even considered. But did this law really help change the country? Let's look at some of the statistics and see.
In 2022, India witnessed a staggering 8.7 increase in child abuse cases, reaching a total of 16,200 incidents as reported by the National Crime Records Bureau (NCRB). According to analysis by Child Rights and You, kidnapping and abduction constitute 46% of the crimes against children in India. Shockingly, sexual violence against children has surged by 96% from 2016 to 2022. The child sexual abuse is an underreported offense in India, which has reached epidemic proportion. A recent study conducted by the Government of India is 17,220 children and adolescents to estimate the burden of sexual abuse revealed shocking results and showed that every second child in country was sexually abused.
Hello everyone, my name is Anushka Prabhu. I'm a consulting psychologist and a psychology professor. So let me first start by talking about what pedophilia is. In psychology, to consider or diagnose anything as a psychological disorder, we refer to two things or two Bibles that we call in psychology. One of them is Diagnostic Statistical Manual or DSM, which is in the 5th edition right now, and the International Classification of Diseases. So in both of these books, pedophilia has a specific criteria that has to be met in order for the person to be diagnosed with pedophilia. So what is this criteria? The criteria is as follows. The person should be having sexual urges, fantasies or sexual activities related to children for more than 6 months persistently, and the person having these urges should be more than 16 years, and the age gap between the person and the victim should be of minimum 5 years. So this is the criteria for the person to be diagnosed with pedophilia. Okay, so it's very difficult to talk about whether a person is born a pedophile or if the person becomes one eventually. In psychology, for most of the psychological disorders, we have this thing called the nature versus nurture debate, which means that every psychological disorder has both genetic components and environmental components. Similarly, for pedophilia, there are genetic components which have been proved in studies, like difference in the frontal lobe structures, differences in the brain white matter, etc. And there are also equally researches done on the environmental factors that affect pedophilia or that are present in people that have pedophilia. So what are these environmental factors? Most studies have shown that there is a high chance of a person who is a pedophile to have been sexually abused themselves in their childhood. So a history of being sexually abused is very common in pedophiles that are diagnosed later on. So there is no conclusive statement that I can say whether a person is made or born a pedophile. But what I can say is there are two different components, and in every person the proportion of these components differs. So a pedophile that eventually is diagnosed has maybe both genetic predisposition combined with environmental factors, which has then made the person behave or act in a way that diagnosed them as a pedophile. Of course, a child who has been sexually abused has a lot of psychological difficulties that they face in their lives. Some children are able to face it better than others, but the people who are, most of the children have long-lasting psychological effects because of the act that has been carried on when they were a child. Most common effects are anxiety, depression, difficulties in having sexual relations as an adult, difficulties in interpersonal relationships, and the list is never ending. So it's very subjective of how sexual abuse is going to impact one child, but it's definitely going to leave a long lasting effect on their psychological well-being. So it's difficult to pinpoint on what exactly goes on in the mind of a pedophile, but researchers have shown that people who are diagnosed as pedophiles very commonly have impulse control issues. They're not able to think properly. They have cognitive distortions at times, and also they suffer from low self-esteem at times, and they need that feel of power. They want to feel what it's like to have power over somebody else. Hence, they choose to abuse children who can't really do anything against them. Whether pedophilia can be cured or not is a very controversial argument actually. It's a very case-to-case based scenario. Depends on the severity of the pedophile also. If there are many different methods that are used to reform people who are accused or even charged with pedophilia and are convicted. So some of the therapies that are used are cognitive behavioral therapy to help them change their thinking about children, to change their behavior towards children, aversion therapy, chemical castration at times, group therapy also works with some people. So yeah, there are different approaches and different ways that we can deal with pedophilia, but whether a person will completely change or not is not really something that can be said about everyone. It's a very case-to-case basis thing. Yeah, thank you.
I know seeing these statistics might be very disappointing, but it does take time for a change to be visible. And with the rate of literacy in India, it has been on a steady incline. And there is hope for the future that these crimes will be reduced because there are more people getting educated and getting more aware. There are certain apps available for the safety of children. And there is child support helpline. The number is 1098. And if you or someone you know is a victim of abuse, please reach out to local support organization or law enforcement. Help is available. Being silent helps the predator. But if you take an action, it can save a life. And if you are someone who is attracted to minors, please seek professional help.